Today, we're digging into one of history's most brutal and just plain wild stories, the Battle of Pliska, and the incredible downfall of a very proud emperor. All right, let's just jump right into the craziest part of this story. You're looking at a Bulgarian Khan, a ruler, toasting a victory. But that cup he's holding, yeah, that's not just any cup. It's the actual skull of a Byzantine emperor, lined with silver. So how on earth did that happen? Let's get into it. Our story kicks off way back in the year 811. The stage is being set for a huge clash between two powerful empires, and it's all being driven by the ambition of one very powerful man. Okay, so at the center of this whole conflict, you've got two very different leaders. On one side, there's the Byzantine Emperor Nikephoros I. His goal is simple and absolute: conquer Bulgaria, period. And he's got a massive professional army to back him up. On the other side, you have the Bulgarian leader, Khan Krum. His mission is a bit more straightforward: defend his home, defend his people, and he's got a smaller, but you better believe, fiercely motivated force. And when we say massive army, we are not kidding. Nikephoros put together an invasion force of around 22,000 soldiers. We're talking his elite imperial bodyguard, troops from all across the Byzantine Empire, all for what he thought was going to be an easy win. Now, here's where things get really interesting. Khan Krum sees this overwhelming force heading his way, and he actually tries to make peace. But Nikephoros, he's so full of confidence, he just scoffs at the offer. As one historian, Theophans, put it, the emperor was basically trapped by his own pride and surrounded by advisors who were telling him exactly what he wanted to hear. His ego just wouldn't let him turn back. And that overconfidence leads directly into the first part of this invasion, the sack of Pliska. For the Byzantines, it was a victory that was quick, brutal, and, as we'll soon see, dangerously misleading. You won't believe how fast the Byzantine army moved. They set up camp on the frontier on July 10th. By July 23rd, that's less than 2 weeks later, they had stormed and sacked the Bulgarian capital, Pliska. They looked absolutely unstoppable, especially since the city was pretty much defenseless. But this wasn't just a military capture, it was an atrocity. The historian Michael the Syrian wrote about the emperor's savagery and horrifying detail, saying he ordered small children brought out, tied to the ground, and crushed with millstones. His army looted everything, burned the fields, and slaughtered anyone and anything in their path. Even after all that devastation, Khan Krum tried for peace a second time. His message was totally pragmatic. Look, you won. Take whatever you want and just go in peace. But again, Nikephoros, completely blinded by his success, just ignored him. He was sure he was about to crush all of Bulgaria for good. And this right here, this is the moment the emperor's pride led him straight into a fatal mistake, the mountain pass trap. So while the Byzantines were busy looting Pliska, Khan Krum was playing a totally different game. He used that precious time to get everyone he could, men, women, even paid mercenaries, and he started turning the very landscape around them into a weapon. Krum's strategy was just brilliant. See, he knew he couldn't beat them in a straight-up fight on an open field. So he decided to take away their biggest advantage, their sheer numbers. He tricked them into marching right into the narrow, winding Vărbitsa Pass, a place where being big wasn't a strength. It was a death sentence. Let's break down his genius plan. Step 1. Lure the huge, overconfident Byzantine army deep into the valley. Step 2. Use his people to build massive wooden walls, called palisades, to block both the entrance and the exit. Step 3. The entire imperial army is now trapped. And finally, step 4, attack them from the cliffs and hills above, where they're completely exposed. The trap was set, and what came next was total annihilation at dawn. Krum sprung his trap, and the consequences for the Byzantine Empire were, well, they were devastated. The second the Byzantine scouts realized that both ends of the pass were sealed, pure panic set in. The emperor himself knew it was over. He was heard saying, "Even if we had wings, we could not have escaped from peril." For 3 agonizing days, the Byzantines were just stuck in that valley, totally demoralized. Then, at dawn on the 26th of July, the Bulgarians came screaming down from the hills, completely overwhelming the panicked and confused army below. It was an absolute slaughter. The outcome was as brutal as it gets. Almost the entire Byzantine army, tens of thousands of soldiers, was just wiped out in that pass. The retreat just turned into this horrifying cascade of disaster. Soldiers tried to flee into a muddy river and got stuck. Many of them drowned or were literally trampled to death by their own comrades in the panic. It's said the river got so choked with bodies that the Bulgarians could just walk right over them. Others who tried to climb the wooden walls were picked off. There was simply no way out. Which brings us to the shocking conclusion of this whole story. The Emperor's Skull Cup, a gruesome trophy that would leave a permanent mark on the entire region. In the middle of all that chaos, Emperor Nikephoros I, the man who dreamed of conquering Bulgaria, was killed. And according to the historians, his body was found of all places on a dunghill. And here is where we come full circle. Krum had the emperor's head brought to him. He then had the skull cleaned out, lined with silver, and used it as a cup to drink toasts with his nobles. A chilling, powerful symbol of his absolute victory. So, why does this one battle from 811 matter so much? Well, the Battle of Pliska is one of the single worst military defeats in the very long history of the Byzantine Empire. The loss was so complete, it stopped the Byzantines from even trying to invade for over 150 years. That breathing room gave the First Bulgarian Empire the chance not just to survive, but to grow and become a major power. And it all leaves us with one last thing to think about. How often has the entire course of history been decided not by the size of an army, but by the size of one leader's pride?